There we go. Yeah, I connected, but my devices were wrong on Discord. Yes, yes. Am I good to go? I think I'm good to go. Oh, is my volume too low? Is it okay? Oh, what can be not fine on my end? Is that okay?
Increase the volume. It's still low from your side, but now it's okay. I can hear you quite clearly because I'm just worried that your voice will be, taken over by the game's voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, wait. Why is this going up to red? I don't like that. Say something, Govind, if you can.
When online, be kind and respectful to your fellow truckers, so experience is pleasant and optimal for everyone.
That's the best thing you could have said. Thanks. Okay. You can play.
I was because that the pop-up came up and I was like, "What is this?" I never read it, and I stopped to read it today. Uh,
Okay.
right.
You can
So
start a convoy.
I did. You're in a convoy. Menu chat tab. In-game chat Y. Okay, I don't need all this crap. Hey, coffee's ready.
Coffee.
Huh? Huh.
At this time and age. Maybe not an age, but.
Yeah, this time, I mean, I know Renu doesn't drink as well, it affects her sleep, but for me, coffee is just a means to reduce slight headache and tiredness. I don't
Hmm.
think it affects my sleep. Oh, we are here together. What the fuck? Wait,
What?
this? I, even yours. Oh, this
Oh
is
shit. How
hilarious. Did you?
do
Okay, hold on.
how do I reset my camera? Wait, I forgot.
How
I
do
just need
I
to reset.
send a screenshot to you? I actually
I
found
will
it.
I will not be able to see it, I think,
Yeah,
right now.
because of it's okay. You can see it once
Later.
we finish playing. Yeah. Hold on. Let me send this to you.
Okay.
This is hilarious. It's like the NPC trucks have been parked next to our truck. So
Oh, I can see it in my back mirror. What?
if you get out, like if you can you get out of your the view? Like if you go outside the, do you have? Can you switch camera views in VR? I don't think so, right? Like I can.
I can, but I can also just look behind me.
Yeah, this
What?
is this is.
How do we get out of this situation?
Yeah, it has.
Can we just go? Can we just go?
Just I haven't checked. I was just sending you pictures. Just
Oh yeah, I
give me
can.
1 second. Uh,
Okay, that's good that I thought about this. Okay, let's see. Okay, I
yeah.
want to see how other trucks look inside because I can.
Okay, let me go back to my
Oh,
view.
they're low res,
Oh, Loris.
low res trucks.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, how you have to do it.
Oh, for me it was like the same. I mean, I think it's because the difference between PC and VR, right? I mean, of course, it's
I
understandable.
mean, no, I mean those trucks, the other trucks. Did you see other trucks inside?
Yeah, it looks.
It looked
Wait,
normal.
yeah, let me check. Let me check. I
I
mean, the
don't
only
think you
way.
can enter again.
Oh, yeah. But what if I change the camera? Um, how do I change the camera again? Damn it. Shit. Up, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like you. I can't move around.
Yeah. So I could like move around and see like their
So I guess it's low
wheel.
resolution for me as well. I mean, they would do that, right? Only player truck they would
Yes,
add the details. Why would they add the
exactly.
details? It's just
Exactly. So the wheel wasn't a circle. It was like low poly.
oh no, for me the tires and wheels are the outside is pretty high res.
No, no, no. I mean the steering wheel of the
Steering
other
wheel,
truck.
yeah. Steering wheel,
Yeah.
yes. Same for me.
Okay, choose a mission.
Sure, just give
Okay,
me a
let's
moment,
go.
Gabo. Just let me.
Logistica,
What are
fellow
we?
truckers.
Fellow truckers. Right. Freight market
Where's my
and
beer? If I drive, I
beer.
have to have a
Oh, you're
beer.
drinking beer. I don't like this. Such a boring cargo, man. What the fuck is this? It says
Boring
we are
cargo.
carrying. What are we carrying? How do we
This
know
guy
what
is
we?
carrying a tractor.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
on a caterpillar.
These
I think that's what
are
you call it.
like the money is good. We are going from Plymouth to Rotterdam in Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
However, the cargo is quite boring. I mean, well, it depends on what you
It's
call
just a
boring. It's
box,
like,
right? I mean,
yeah,
we
it's
can
just boring.
we
We
can
can try go to Netherlands and then see if Netherlands have something interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, let's set the GPS. So if I set the GPS, it's not like you also get to see, right?
No, you have to, I have to take your mission. So we have to first take
It's
the
very
mission
close
from the
by. Where are we? Are in London. Ooh.
left side.
I
Traffic.
forgot which way. Oh, okay, now I get it.
Same as India.
Yeah. Right.
In
It's
Japan.
very nearby. So I wonder, Japanese. I mean, was automobile industry introduced to Japan by US or did they develop autonomously, like so separately?
I mean, what I've heard, I thought it was introduced by US,
Hmm.
but why would they have the other way around, right? Oh, because they already had like,
Because Germany had before US, right? Like they had automobile industry before US, didn't they?
really? Wasn't Ford the pioneer
I
in the
don't know.
US?
Maybe I'm wrong then. Yeah, I thought it is Germany who invented automobiles, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, the first
Uh,
automobiles on the road. Like maybe he made commercial cars Ford, but I could be totally wrong. I don't know what. I mean, I
hmm.
haven't looked into it.
I think Japan took it from US, but they already had those rules how to move
Yeah,
on
that's
like
what I was
paved
wondering.
roads.
That's exactly
Yeah,
why I asked. You got why I asked you. Like, why did they
yeah,
get the U.S. rule system or the? And it's
yeah,
strange that
exactly.
Britain, being in Europe, has a different rule, which is super weird to me.
Mm. I mean, there are some things that are like historically. Uh, oh, that was my phone. That have like historic backgrounds. For example, like Russian trains. Some of the Russian rails was like narrower than the European trains because you didn't want any spy trains entering Russia.
Whoa, how would a
Something
spy
like that.
train enter Russia anyway?
I don't know. Maybe they didn't have
That I'm
good
not able to.
border control at the time. I don't
Oh,
know.
but I mean, trains are like this big machinery, right? Can't they see when one of their trains are like coming from outside the border?
Probably.
Very weird. Soviet Union.
Or maybe it wasn't like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't about like spy trains, but I don't know. What would be
Interesting.
another reason? But it was something to do with like we don't want to European trains come to Russia or something
Ah,
like that.
because you know how the gauge is separated, right? I think you already know the answer to that.
Rail gauges
Yeah, the size of the rails, the
are
distance
separate.
between two separate. Yeah, it's called gauge or it's called something else. Maybe I might be calling it differently, but the actually Renu had sent me a tweet about this. It's very historical, actually. Why? And it was super interesting. And I went and searched a bunch about it and went and read a lot about it. And it was like, wow,
Uh
I didn't
huh.
know this. Do you have
I
any
don't.
guesses as to why the size of like the rail? How did they
You
determine the
mean
size?
you mean the gap
The
between?
gap between two rails. Like for example, one iron and the other iron bar, which
Uh
makes up the
huh.
rail. Oh shit! I crashed onto a vehicle. I couldn't even see. What the fuck, man? This is like a sad beginning. Anyway, um, so
uh, Let me
any
guess.
any
Like
guesses? Yeah, I want to see if you can guess. You might know
uh,
this. If I say, you'll be like, yeah, I knew it or something. You know, you might have read it. It's hard because you're in
Okay.
automobile.
Wow. I don't know actually. Like,
So
was it?
it's based on.
My first guess would be like the engine size was like that or
No.
something like that. No.
So the engine size actually was determined by this factor as well. So
Oh,
you're
okay.
kind of there. So the reason for that is because Rome had horse carriages, and control speed, and as well as to make sure that the invaders, when they invade with a chariot, they had chariots before, right? So
Uh-huh.
horse chariots. When an invasion happens, what they had done is that they had kept the wheels, and if you look at the Roman roads, there are these bumps on the roads. So you have to
Hmm.
like exactly pass through that to make sure that your carriage goes through.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
so
can see
the
sometimes on the road even
right,
that
right, right.
when
You can see that, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And because of that, sorry, Gabo, one sec before I continue. What was the button again? You keep telling me, and I keep forgetting. For cruise control, square, right?
Where? Yeah.
Okay, because this place is 48 and I'm going like 70.
Yeah, I'm going 48 on cruise control.
So, yeah, so the reason the rail, if I don't know if all the railways,
Hmm.
the modern railways really follow it, but at least in Europe, majority of it follows that. It's
So
literally
it was
two
just
horses,
based on the yeah. Oh, two horses based on
yeah,
the carrots.
two
Yeah, I
horses, yeah.
maybe I've heard that, but I totally forgot about it.
Yeah, it was super. I was like blown away, like what the fuck. And so I went and checked the measurements. So there are actually a YouTube video and stuff where they're measuring this, and you can
Mhm.
see it like they are measuring. So India has that obviously, because even though Rome is like miles away from India,
Mhm.
we did have trade relations, but it's still not obviously not in Europe, right? So, but still, because railways were bought from Britain, I think they followed the same principle. I
Hmm.
don't know if Japan has that though. I don't know if Japan's railway follows
Oh,
the same gauge.
sorry. There's a Lamborghini on the other side
What?
of the road with three police cars around it.
What? What? Let me see. Where the fuck? Oh yeah, I can see the police car. Oh, I'm gonna slow down and check it out.
There's a
Oh, that's so. There was an
Lamborghini.
update by the way. They added some new features.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
Maybe
fuck,
that's
nice, dude. Yeah, actually,
was speeding.
police.
Three
Yeah,
cars had to stop him.
makes sense, right? That's actually a story. See, like I
Yeah,
was telling Ozzy and Yake were blaming me for like, why do I play this boring game? I was like, it's not boring, dude. Like, I don't know. It's,
exactly. It's
yeah,
a good
it's so
talking game.
fucking awesome. Even without that, I play sometimes. I played like so
Hmm.
much. Okay, I'm gonna drink a coffee, and oh no, I can't. I can't. Fuck. My truck is going haywire. I've tried to lift the coffee with one hand. Oh fuck, fuck, fuck.
Yeah,
Shit.
I cannot drink too
You,
because
of course, you. I don't
my
even.
VR headset
So
stops
how
me
do you have
from
a beer
moving.
with you?
I mean, I don't. When I stop on lights, then I maybe take a sip.
Okay, that's sad, Gabo. I
Yeah.
can see you on the map, but I can't see you in your truck in ahead of me. Actually, I'm slowing down for my coffee.
Oh, I cannot see you even on the map.
What gear am I
I'll
at?
slow down so we can catch
Yeah.
up, so we can be
Ooh, this
together.
place looks nice. Hmm. One sec. So I got coffee. I got Renu baked a cake, so I have this cake with me, and I can't do any of those shit while driving.
None of that shit.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So you had a busy day today, is it? Like you were talking about you were going to work till 8. Generally you don't, right? Like
Yeah, I
that's
have.
my problem. Generally I do that.
Yeah, generally you do that. But yeah, lately our project is like 2 weeks behind schedule, and
Catch
we
up.
have to be on our toes all the time.
I have a lot of things to prepare because I'm leaving, right? So I have to hand over, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's a lot of
How
stuff
much
that I need
like yeah, hand over
a
like
lot,
stuff you have? A lot?
a lot because
What do you need to hand over? Like,
so the thing is, if I were just an artist, I
oh, I
wouldn't
can
have this
see.
problem because
Go left.
I go left. What do you mean?
Yeah, you have to go left on the
Ah,
next.
yeah, yeah. I'm looking.
Mm-hmm.
I have the GPS active. So, but there was a truck beside me. I thought your voice came go left, and there was a truck approaching from the left. I'm like, how did Gabo come from here? It's closed. I realized
I
not
actually
you.
thought that you're a different truck and that you already missed your turn. That's why I was panicking.
Oh, how was the lights again, Gabo? Fuck, I keep forgetting the
Left.
keys. Left key, right? Okay. So, as an SV, like as a supervisor, you decide a lot of workflows, you create tools, you create a lot of different aspects for the project. So,
Mm,
that has to be written down somewhere, or it has to be recorded somewhere,
mm-hmm.
mm, so that the
Nobody
new
knows it.
SV.
Nobody knows about it except you.
Well, I mean, they'll have an idea, but the thing is that there are so many known. I'm here, Gabo. You can continue. I'll follow you. So there is I mean, yes, the people will know obviously because there's so many things which are common project to project. But however, there are some very project specific thing that I've created, like this project that it hasn't released. I mean, it's announced in Netflix. Mm,
Mm,
so even if I'm
okay.
streaming, I can talk about it. It's called Mech Carrot. It's kind of a teenage flick about robots and fighting alien creatures and stuff. So that one had a very special look that we had to create. Like the director had a very specific idea in mind, and
Mm,
so our technical directors would create shaders, and I'll have to come up with a look, and then send it to the director, and then he'll give me feedback. So back and forth, a lot of back and forth. So
oh,
that
so
back and forth
you. Uh
has
huh.
to be recorded, or recorded as in it has to be like why did I do this, like what decision
Yeah,
did I
yeah,
make,
yeah.
those kind of
And you
things.
have to. So these decisions have to be like passed down to the next person after you.
Yes, I mean the project is almost done, but however there is a chance that maybe there is a part 2 of this,
Okay.
and I won't be the one handling it. So they need to have the new SV, whoever it is going to be, needs to be fully prepared as to the decisions and everything, right?
Hmm.
Mm. That's a nice
Okay.
segue to, like, because I have to prepare documentation. That's a nice segue to continue our discussion on rule books.
On the rule books. I was wondering when. Look to your right though, if you can. Like.
I'm actually looking in Ravi, but I'm so scared of doing that because of that hit.
Yeah.
Like, it's beautiful, right? I wish it was morning.
Yeah.
But there is,
Exactly.
because I never liked sea in the night. I mean, because you can't see shit, you can only hear it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I
true.
love sea in the morning. Yeah, it's just beautiful. But still, we used to go in. So when we, sorry, before we go into rule book discussion, we in at my place when I go to Kerala or with my cousins, right? Kerala is where I'm from. It's a coastal
Mm-hmm.
region. So
Uh-huh.
at night we go there, like night in the sense like around 8 9 we go there, and it's like nice and breezy because where I come from is the weather is exactly like Japan, not the winter, but the summer,
Mm-hmm.
probably even
Okay.
worse. Like add Indian heat plus the humidity on it.
Oh shit.
So at night this beach is really cool and really nice.
Mm. Yeah.
Uh,
So I'm also like from a coastal region, and we
yeah, on the north, which
sometimes
is still baffles me when I think about it.
on the north, yeah. But still, we could like in the middle of the summer, we would like be drinking at someone's place
Right,
to
on
the
the beach.
morning. Like, I mean, at someone's place first, and then
Oh,
we were
okay.
like 4 a.m. and like,
Mm.
okay, let's go to the beach, guys. Let's go to the beach, and everyone was like, okay. And we just had this like 40-minute walk to the beach, for example, right?
Awesome. How is
In
the
the middle
beach
of
for
the.
you guys? Like, is it something that you can get in and take, as in get wet? How do I put this? Like, get into the water because
To
some of the
enter,
beaches you
yeah,
can't, yeah, because of the high waves,
yeah, you
unless you know
can, you
some.
can. I mean,
Okay.
Baltic, you know Baltic Sea?
Yes,
Oh,
I mean I
awesome.
haven't seen it, but I've heard the
Baltic
name.
Sea is an enclosed sea most
Right.
of the time. Like it has only just one like
Oh, what's
opening
happening here?
to the ocean. Yeah, something happened there. Only oh, this guy in front of me, he's carrying a helicopter. What the
Oh
hell? We are
my.
carrying some
Oh.
boxes.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get a helicopter, and that police siren just filled up my cabin like crazy. It was weird.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So because of that, the Baltic Sea is not like a huge open sea. It's enclosed by land from all sides. It
Hmm.
doesn't have that big waves,
Ah, okay, so
uh,
it's okay.
especially on the coast. Yeah.
So is it humid for you guys as well? Like where you are, like from where you are from in Poland?
Mm, no, it's not that humid. No.
Hmm. Okay.
Mm. Yeah, but for example, like we also had like some stories like in the middle of the winter,
Mm.
some of the sea will freeze.
Whoa.
Yeah, like, but not all of it. Like most of the lakes will freeze like entirely,
Hmm.
but the sea is too big, so it will just freeze like I don't know, maybe 100 meters from the beach, and then it's not frozen anymore,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And
So it's
we
those
were like,
density of water. Wherever the water quantity is less, it freezes. But wherever it's more, it just, of course. I mean, it's hard for me to
yes,
imagine sea frozen. Hmm.
right? Yeah, it's just too big to like freeze
Freeze.
entirely. But maybe there are some like smaller seas that actually freeze. I don't know. But we
Hmm.
were like in the middle of the winter. We went to the beach. We were drunk, of course, and we started to like enter this ice. Right? Such a stupid idea. And there, my friend, like I was like, behind everyone else. I
I was
was
drinking
like
coffee. Hmm.
very safely approaching that line between ice and no ice. And my friend, I saw him, and he also said afterwards that he saw like a line that, okay, after this point,
Hmm.
there's probably no ice, but it was in the middle of the night, and also, it's not like there's ice and then suddenly there's water. It's like, it's
And
like
you guys
some
have
melting
a
ice.
huge, like a decent coastline. When I say coastline, whatever beach rather, like where some sea you walk a little bit and then it's boom down, like the
Oh, you mean
coral
like
ends.
cliffs?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like some seas you walk a little bit ahead, like say, I don't know, couple of meters, and then it's like it goes down.
Oh, you mean inside the water?
Yeah, yeah, right on the beach.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you mean in the water, like coral reefs and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, no, no, no. I mean we were on the ice, right?
Huh.
We were not in the water. So yeah, but it can it I think it does go deep, but not as deep as you're thinking. It's like
Hmm.
maybe from 1 meter to maybe 5 meters, something like that.
Hmm.
And so he saw we were walking on this ice, and he saw a line. Like he was like me also, and he was like thinking, okay, if I make the next step will probably be in water, but he did it anyway, and he just fell into the water. And we were all laughing.
And
We
it's
were
cold,
laughing. We
isn't it?
shouldn't be. Yeah, he was freezing. We shouldn't be laughing, but we were laughing at him. He just came out of the water, and the first thing he wanted to do is to light a cigarette, but he couldn't. He was struggling, like fuck, fuck, light up, light up. So funny at the
I
time.
mean, yeah, that would be the same. I would laugh too.
Yeah, could have ended tragically though, but
Hmm. True, but yeah, like I
yeah,
said, like with friends like these, it's difficult not to laugh.
exactly. Okay, so we don't have a segue, but let's go back to
To
that
rule book.
segue that we
Yeah.
had.
So I was like thinking about what you were saying yesterday. I was like, yeah, it's true, dude. I mean, I was messaging you, right? And then I reply like, let's talk on ES2, and then of course you'll reply, and then I'm like, oh wait, I shouldn't reply because if I reply, then I'll be like, I
Mm-hmm.
get it. It's so hard not to reply. Like it feels weird.
Yeah.
So I was going through a message. I was actually discussing this with Reno also yesterday. It was interesting because she also reads rule book. I mean, generally what we do is that generally both of us, if there's a game that interests us, we
Mm-hmm.
read rule books, and
Mm-hmm.
then we decide to buy or not. Generally speaking, like it's not the case. Like for example, Kanizia's games or Stefan Fell's game, I don't read the rule book because I want the mechanic to surprise me because it's all about mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Theme is
Mm-hmm.
like whatever, right?
I mean,
So
you are sure that it's gonna be good. You know that. That's
I
the
mean,
big
some
thing.
games I don't like, right? Canisius, like for example, Stefan Fell's Jorvik is like one stupid ass game. I hate it.
Mm.
And Canisia also has like Taj Mahal was okay. Like we played it a couple of times, but it's like yeah, whatever. We sold it actually. So some games,
Mm-hmm.
it's a hit or miss with Canisia, especially because he's designed so many games. It's a big hit
Mm-hmm.
or miss. Like not necessarily that it's going to be good.
Okay.
So
Too
Um,
many accidents in this road. Go
mm,
on.
yeah, exactly. Anyway, coming back to that rule book. So what I was saying, telling you was, I do agree with you in one regard, is that, and that, this is a big discussion, by the way. This is not just you telling me about this. I mean, because I follow a lot of GDC talks. Both GDC has both board games. I think in like past couple of years they started adding. Oh my God, sorry, Gab, I got distracted. I did see. You know what happened just now? The accident on the left side
Uh-huh.
wasn't there for me. As soon as I reached the threshold, it suddenly spawned
Oh, okay.
and
All the
filled
lights
my,
and everything.
yeah, suddenly all of a sudden I was just filled with blue light. Got distracted anyway. So GDC has a lot of talks. I mean, I can send it to you if you're interested to listen to a couple of these things. So it's an ongoing talk about what you just mentioned to me about interpretation, right? In
Mm-hmm.
interpretation, there is nothing you can do about it. Like there's absolutely zero you can do about it. Like it's because interpretation is not only language based, it's also culture based. So
And
you can't,
experience base.
yeah, you can't really foolproof design something. So my point was not that. My point with rule books
Mm-hmm.
is that if you say for example, there are a couple of rule books that I absolutely love. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's it's just incredible, and I have contributed to rule books. Like I've contributed to at least 5 to 6 rule books. On Mars was one of them, and then few other
Mm-hmm.
games like Dice Hospital and Chocolate Factory. So because I was
So we
part of.
know it's difficult. It's a difficult
Oh,
thing to do.
absolutely. Oh, I
Yeah.
never said it's easy, but what I'm saying is there is
Mm-hmm.
a difference between publishers. So my complaint to you was about publishers. It was not about
Publishers.
individuals. Like
Okay.
publishers, what they do is that to save money, they don't playtest their rule book. So generally the process. So let's go with people I know, like Paul Grogan, who is a rule book editor. And
Uh-huh.
he's the only one whom I have had direct contact with. I used to be the way I worked with him, or it's not just I worked with him. It's like everybody in his Slack channel gets a chance. Whoever wants can contribute to rulebook that he's editing, and kind of proofread it for him and
Okay.
uh, leave a comment. I
So
mean, you
when
can't really go and edit the documentation, but you can like write a comment like this sentence doesn't make any sense. Can you
uh-huh.
restructure this? Or this particular segment should be in page A, not in page B. I'm just
Okay.
giving an example. So you can
Mm-hmm.
make suggestions like that, and then so the way he does rule book. So let's just go over how he. I mean, of course, he's because he's one of the best in the industry, right? And he obviously might be charging you a lot, but he also makes sure that his rule books are foolproof. Like none of Vital's games rule books, it's all written by him. None of them have ambiguity. Now it's a different topic whether you and I understand it differently. Like we might
Mm-hmm.
read some sentence and you might take it one way, I might take it one way, right?
Yes.
However, Paul Grogan, he reduces this ambiguity as much as possible. Like his aim, one of his biggest aim is to make sure
Mm-hmm.
the sentences are very simple. Like he follows that rule, very
Yes.
simple
Yes.
sentences, and so that you don't have ambiguity. And also
Mm-hmm.
try and form a linguistic. Like for example, you were giving. I was thinking about what you said because I have the same problem. At work, like explaining some technical concept is very hard because you do. In my case, it's even worse because it goes through a translator, right? So,
I mean, I'm not talking, I wasn't specifically talking about language differences and cultural differences.
oh shit,
I
shit,
was
shit,
more
shit.
talking about just like how
Sorry.
you interpret some text. Like you
Hmm.
don't, you can be from the same country, you can speak the same language, but you read the text and another person reads the text and you understand it differently. And I think that's very common. Like I don't know if you remember, like when we sometimes played board games, we were like, why is this rule very confusing, for example, right?
Yes, we had that when we
So,
were playing recently this Queen's Dale. Anyway, go
yeah,
ahead, continue. Huh?
yeah. So the rule, I mean, I don't know about Queensdale, but let's say that the rule is correct. The rule
Hmm.
states the rule correctly. So
Hmm.
there's no like wrong saying in that.
Hmm.
It's the rule is conveyed properly. I mean,
Hmm.
no, it's not conveyed properly. It's like logically it's correct, but uh, it's still confusing for you. Why? Because you add language to the algorithm. Because I was also thinking about our discussion, and I was thinking like, okay, because you said about like rules are pure logic, right?
Yes.
And that's true, but you cannot convey pure logic like
In
directly
any,
to other
yes,
people because they will
agreed,
not understand. Like the
agreed.
purest way that you could convey an algorithm is either by an algorithmic like block diagram
Hmm.
that
Yes,
describes the logic of something or
yes,
just pure code, right?
yes,
Sheer code like I don't know Python or C++ or anything.
yes,
That's like the pure logical and
yes.
uh, you know text, let's say. But
Absolutely
then
agreed.
when you put it,
Hmm.
whenever you put it in front of public and you start adding words like that describe those concepts and describe this logic, you get more and more ambiguity
Yeah, but
in
before
those
we
sentences.
like, before you continue, I just want to remove
Mhm,
party games from this because party games are exception. Party games cannot be added into this ambiguity because you know the whole purpose of party game is to have fun. Like a game like Mind cannot have 100% logical rules. That's kind of goes against the purpose of the game. Like you cannot.
mm. Oh shit.
So or Hanabi for example, like I like Ozzy hates that, but I
Mm-hmm,
disagree with him in that like you cannot have a 100% logic rule in game like Hanabi or Mind. That then the game doesn't exist actually. Like if you do that, the purpose of the game, because for
mm-hmm,
me, while those are game, there is still a winning condition. Like they are still described as a game. You can still give it a definition of a game. There is like a start,
mm-hmm.
there is a start player, end
Yes.
player, there is a winner. Yes, all that is agreed, but it also falls into the category of activity, like where you are like sitting, relaxing, having fun. You're not really computing a lot of things, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, you're in the realm of games. But like
Yes.
at the same time, you set up on Mars. The rule doesn't tell us set up the game and stand on two hands. No, it doesn't tell that, right? You're actually
Yeah,
sitting
of
and
course.
computing the games.
Mm-hmm.
So and you're playing to win, to achieve a goal, and you're in that logic, you're in that realm. It's not an activity. You're like using your entire brain power, while in party games you are having fun, interaction, social, you are
Mm-hmm.
goofing, you're making fun of others. So I feel
Mm.
like we should remove party games from the discussion
Yeah,
in
but
a way.
we started the conversation with Isaac, and Isaac is a party game.
Oh
But it's
really?
a more yeah, it's a more meaty party game than your normal party game because
Oh well then.
there's like four decks that are involved in that, and there's like a turn structure, and there's a lot of like rules more than a normal party game. But
How
still,
long does a
it's
game exist?
party
To me, a party game, for me, something is a party game or a light game if it is less than half an hour, like per session, and like you can play a game, like Cockroach Poker.
It says it's 40 to 4 until 45 minutes, but people say they have longer sessions normally. So
So how is it a
it's
party
not.
game then?
I mean, because party game is not defined by the size of the session, the length of the session, right?
Mm,
Party game is if you're having like if you have those like player interactions in a way, like for me at least, party game is when you have like for example this barter mechanics that are not explained properly,
no,
and everyone
then
is like
you mean to
laughing.
say negotiation, barter when you say
No, no,
negotiation, right?
no. I mean,
Then
I don't mean like negotiation mechanic. I mean like everyone can do whatever they want as long as it's fun in the game, right? That for
mm,
me is a party game.
yeah, I mean
So in this
I
game, you can
mm,
also do that. You can do whatever you want. That's why the rules are ambiguous a little bit because it's more on the party game side, right?
that's very I mean I don't know. For me, I wouldn't describe a party game like that. For me, party game is strictly something like Mind or party game, right? Like there is light games and party games. I won't even categorize because anything can be a party game. I can still drink a beer with you and play on Mars and still goof around,
Exactly.
have fun. Like anything can
Yeah.
be a
But
board
I
game can be a
mean,
social activity.
but that's what you said, right? That you wouldn't call like you wouldn't categorize party games into our conversation right now. Oh
Yes.
shit, I need to sleep.
Yeah,
So
me too.
what
Me
did
too.
you mean by that? You
I
meant
mean,
by
like Mind.
30
I'm
minute
specifically
games?
giving games
What
like specifically talking about games like Mind, Hanabi,
yeah, but
or
mine can if mine took 2 hours, wouldn't that be a party game?
no, I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't play a game with that level of randomness for
I'm
two
not
hours. I mean,
asking you if you would play or not. I'm asking you if that's a party game or
mm,
not.
on a strict sense, no, it won't be called a party game. If you're strictly going by we have to be like very strictly going by the definition of party games in BGG.
And
Like if
what
you're
is
going
that?
by, I'm paraphrasing. It
Mm-hmm.
some again something like Mind or something like Cards Against Humanity, where
Mm-hmm.
there is no strict rule. The game lasts. You know, you can play several sessions. Like Citadel can be almost close to a party game, but I still wouldn't call Citadel a party game. Like it still has like rules and stuff. Let's see, Masquerade could be a party game, or this one, Coup can be a party game. Like where you are just
Mm-hmm.
a game session lasts less than an hour, and you know you're goofing around having fun. There is no strict rule, but at the same time, I see what I do see your point. Oh wait, where you are here, right? Where are you? I need to sleep. Oh, you slept and you
Yeah, I
left.
need to sleep. No, I
Gabo,
didn't
you
left.
are
But we are moving
going a
somewhere, and I
wrong
think we
way.
will
Oh no,
sleep.
you have to go to the
Yeah,
railway station, right? That
yeah, and I
train.
think we will sleep, right, when we enter the train.
No, we don't. Even I
We
also I
don't?
would assume that, but I assume that would happen, but no, it doesn't happen. What the
Oh,
fuck, man? This is so weird. Hold on, Gabo. One
I
sec. Give me
think
a
it
moment.
happens on single player though.
Single player, I think it does. But you know,
Okay.
even if you like it, it's very weird. It even saves the state of your engine, like you know what gear you are at. It saves all the states. It doesn't reset you to. I'm in a very
Mm.
precarious position. Just give me 2 minutes. Let me just adjust. I enter this petrol bunk,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean because of my camera, I the sleeping was at the entrance, but I'm
Yes,
talking to you.
yeah, I did the same thing, and I was like, whatever, I'm not sleeping.
I just took a U-turn, and I'm like
Okay.
really out of fuel.
I will tell you if I will sleep if I enter
Okay,
this.
let me eat my cake. Hmm.
And
Give me a
no,
moment.
I didn't sleep. Shit.
You
Okay,
didn't,
I
right?
need to. No, I need to
Yeah.
sleep somewhere now. Where would that be? Need to go this way. Of course, we need to go the longer way. Okay. Or maybe I'll just go here until you. Nah. What is this? Legend. There was a legend here somewhere. Yeah, toll gate. No, I'm not going through a toll gate just to sleep. Hmm.
Oh,
Okay,
if I
I'll go to
just
the.
press accelerator, then it just works. Okay. Hmm.
I'll go to the next sleeping station then.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm still not there. I'm still filling petrol. I'm tankering. What do you call it?
Tanking.
Tanking.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Hmm. I
for
do agree.
example,
I mean, it's yeah.
the
Go ahead,
game
Gabo.
that we
Sorry. Hmm.
played, the game that we played, that is the Japanese small game that we played the other day when you came. And I'm
Hmm.
not talking about the Viking one, the other one, the
The other
card
one, I
game.
got it. Yeah. Hmm.
I wouldn't call that a party game though,
Yeah, me neither.
because it has very strict rules and it's not fun.
Yeah, I'm
I
selling.
mean, it's not. I mean, it can be fun, of course, but it's not funny, right?
It's
It's
not
not.
funny,
It's not
and yeah, it's not something that I assumed it to be a party game, and it's like I agree with you. It doesn't seem like a party game to me. Oh,
yeah, but on the
that
other
Japanese game
hand,
that we played, that horse one.
but on the other hand,
Excuse me.
I would call longer games where like everyone is just laughing, everyone is like accusing
Oh
one
yeah,
another,
yeah, yeah,
everyone is like,
yeah.
and I would call them party games
Excuse
though,
me.
you know.
Yes,
Mm.
me too.
That's why I
But
think.
we were also laughing while playing Kemet because
Yeah, but
you
I'm
know
not
the
talking only laughing, you know. It's like
I mean
it
we
has
were
to have
having
like
fun.
those. It has to have those specific rules
Hmm?
that are like us. For me, at least, it has to have those specific rules that are associated with party games.
Exactly. That I also agree with that. Like it needs to have that some fun factor in the rules itself, even if it is not completely 100%. You know, like you can interpret that rule any way you want. However,
Mm-hmm.
it needs to have some fun factor in the rule, like you know,
Exactly.
goofy rules. Yes, absolutely. That I
So
actually would agree to that. Yeah.
that's why I think Isaac is that because it
Okay.
uh
But
like
I mean, is
core
a tell me
the
something
core of the
about.
game is okay.
Hmm.
I can just explain it to you
Sure.
very
Sure.
quickly so that you can understand what I'm talking about because the main like geist of the game is that you have those treasure cards
Huh.
that they are like in front of you. Everyone can see them, and
Okay.
you can tap them and activate them
Mm-hmm.
in response to any action of any player
Mm-hmm.
at any time. And you can, and those actions are, for example, when a player interacts with a deck, you look at the three cards on the top of the deck and you shuffle and you just reorder them in your liking. So you can mess with people in this way, or you can use a card in your hand that basically when another player is fighting a monster, he has one health left. You can just
Hmm.
go, okay, I'm using a card right now, and I'm
The
using a bomb
monster
on
gets
this
10 health.
player, and I mean, the player has, for example, one health, right?
Hmm.
He's about to die, but he wins.
Shit.
He won the fight.
Oh,
He's
okay,
very
okay,
happy,
okay,
for
okay.
example, right?
Hmm.
And then another player is like, okay, I'm using this card. This card lets me attack any player for 1 damage. This guy dies now.
Okay.
So you can mess with everyone in like
I see
all
what you mean.
possible ways. That's why for me that's a
That
party
is
game.
that is
Yeah.
literally like Masquerade and Citadel kind of games. Okay.
And
Yeah, I would
what
call
you
it party.
can
Yes.
do, and what the rule books
Hmm.
actually encourages you, is to make those barters and stuff. So, for example, you say, "Look, I have a bomb on my hand. I can kill you right now, but if you
Hmm.
give me 5 gold, I will not kill you." For
Got
example.
it. Got it. Hmm.
So that's a party game, in
Yes,
my opinion.
I would also say that it's a family game. I mean, yeah, it's agreed.
Mm, mm.
Agreed. I mean, you could say that. Like also even
Yeah.
Sheriff of Nottingham, I would kind of categorize, even though it takes longer than an hour. Sheriff of Nottingham would be a party game, like because have you played Sheriff of Nottingham by in any
No.
form?
No.
It has this, like, you are the basic premise of the game is you have certain goods, but you also
Mm-hmm.
have counterfeit goods, and you are trying to get every round. One player becomes the sheriff. Like for example, if you're sitting clockwise next to me, if I am the
Mm-hmm.
sheriff one round, you will be the sheriff next round. Sorry, Gabo, I always get out the
Mm.
wrong way in this fucking train yard. Always. I've never
Oh,
ever once exited properly. Anyway, so
shit. I'm not looking at the signs. Okay. Uh-huh. Go ahead.
so you become the sheriff. So, for example, if I hurt you, I know that next turn it'll be you who will become the sheriff, and you can really fuck me up as well. Because
Mm-hmm.
the aim of the game is to become as rich as possible, and you are trying
I've
to
seen the
collect
rules
set.
somewhere. I've seen a
Yeah,
video. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're trying to collect sets, and also
Uh-huh.
you're trying to bring in fake goods, counterfeit. So yeah, it takes more, like, because of the negotiation, and like, hey, listen, dude, don't do this to me. If you don't open my cart, I won't open your cart. Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes on for a while. It can even go up to like 2 hours, but you never feel bored. You're like always entertained,
Yeah.
and yeah, I would totally call
I
it
slept
party
twice.
family. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
what did
I
you say?
slept twice
Oh,
by mistake. Uh, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's more considered a family game. I don't know what's the
so,
difference
but
like
I wanted to
between a
ask you one
party
question,
game.
because I don't know Isaac, the actual video game. So, is Isaac actually a game like, say, Hades, where Hades? You don't have to be too. Hades, I wouldn't call Hades a very serious game. It has a lot of slapstick comedy, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very light-hearted in
Yes.
some regard. There's no, even, it deals with death, but you're in the underworld, but still it's a light-hearted game. So is that the same
Yeah.
with Isaac? I thought Isaac is more of
Uh,
a serious game, like.
Isaac is more. I mean, the aesthetics of the game make it quite silly,
Hmm.
but the
Oh,
but
I
the
would think the
premise
otherwise. Hmm.
but the premise of the game is quite horrorish. So it's like an approach to horror, but in a funny way, right? Your
So
Isaac
Cult of
is
the Lamb
attacking
is the best reference I have.
something like that, exactly, because
Yeah.
you're playing as Isaac and you fight with your tears.
Hmm.
You're attacking other monsters with tears. Why? Because your mother wants
Tears.
to kill you, and you ran away, and you are tears, and you are in
Dude, that is
this
sad.
and you are in this underworld, and you have this goofy character which is just like 5 strokes across, like a circle and 2 circles eyes, and that's it, and a
Right.
face.
Right.
And you fight with those very like light colored droplets of water that's coming from your eyes. So it's
Wow.
like, it's like sad and funny, silly at the same time. It's very
I,
unique.
when you're describing it, I don't find it funny or silly. I find it sad.
But the art is very like funny. Like, yeah, everything, all of the sounds in that game, the music, like the sounds that the monsters make. Like, you have this bulky creature that has a face, and he's
Hmm.
like crying, like, "Woo-hoo-hoo," and he runs
Okay.
away from you. But you need to kill him to progress, right?
Ah,
But he's running away from you, and he's just like throwing flies at you because he wants you to leave him alone.
oh
But you have
man,
to kill him. So it's very sad. But like the whole aesthetic of the game, it's like it's colorful, it's
I see.
bright.
For me, because the reason I asked you this is because I wanted to know. You said the creators wanted to do something. Like if they wanted to do something different, that is totally understandable. Like they don't have to follow the same video game thing. They
Mm-hmm.
can obviously take that and create a
Yeah.
different world and have a different thing. So I was just wondering, did they, because Bloodborne and Dark Souls, those two games, how much I love those games
Mm-hmm.
in video game sense. And then the board games are one of the worst board games I played. Like Bloodborne, the card game was like, I feel nauseous when I think about it. It's
Mm-hmm.
you know,
But
it's not
but I've heard
bad, but it sucks.
I've
It's like
heard the Dark Souls the card game is quite good.
card game. Is there a card
Card
game
game.
there? There's a board game. I don't know.
Uh, I know
I don't know about a
there's.
card
I
game.
think there's both a card game and a board game, and
I
I've
see.
heard that the card game is good. But I've only
Hmm.
heard. I haven't played it, so I don't know.
Yeah, because the card game is so boring. It just goes against the spirit of the game. Yeah, you have the artwork from the game and you have these weapons from the game, but it does nothing. I mean, it doesn't capture the game in any way, like any way, shape, or
Hmm.
form. The only
Okay, so
game that I'm
mhm,
actually looking forward to play, like I told you, was Stardew Valley because it has the, you can still have the resource management in board games as well,
yeah. Hmm.
and
But you
it's
just
yeah.
said that they didn't like the creators of this Isaac board game. They didn't have to go with the game
Oh, I
itself.
don't
They
know what
want.
their goal was. I mean, it depends on
Yeah,
what they
yeah,
wrote on the Kickstarter. Yeah.
but what about the Bloodborne one? Does it
It
have
was
to
not
be
from
exactly?
Software. It was from Simon. Like now it's Come On
Yeah,
Games. Like,
but
such
it
silly
doesn't
name. Come
have
On.
to capture the game's feel, right?
Well,
If they
they
wanted to make
promoted it saying like that.
oh, if they promote it like
Mm.
that, then yeah.
Yeah, I mean they promoted like dark broody world and capture this like bullshit. You didn't capture
Mm.
jack. You captured jack shit. You like I can like I can fill up a bloody board game forum like 2 pages on long why I hate those games. I mean it's just plain. It's what they're trying to do is that they're trying to fit in the rules of Ameritrash board games. Ameritrash board games, some of them, like for example, there are some games I enjoy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even though I'm more of a Euro player, I still like some of the Ameritrash games are really good. Like you have fun with players, and they are trying to take what they're trying to do is that they're distilling down the board game essence into the
Mm-hmm.
video game essence into a board game format, which is tokens, having cards with art. It just doesn't capture, at least not for me. I mean, there will be some person out there whose favorite game will be Bloodborne, the card game. Who knows,
Mm-hmm.
or the board game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I mean, there must be people out there, but I just
Exactly.
can't. I couldn't. I mean, there's always something that someone likes anyway. But that's besides the point. But the topic of rule book, like yes,
Yeah.
see about. I wasn't discussing you about. I wasn't actually talking to you about ISIP. For me, it's like in
Mm-hmm.
general. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing. You're taking money from people. Like I said, it's your publisher's responsibility to do the rule book properly. And the reason I say this is because I have read. I might like Gabo. I don't know. I used to read rule book in bathroom. I used to read rule book before going to
Mm-hmm.
sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like even now, nowadays sometimes I do. So when I read when you read a rule book, a good rule book, at least in my opinion, captures you immediately. Now it doesn't mean that I'm interpreting it correctly. That is again like I could interpret it in a wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
However, to me, like to give a context to what I'm saying, a good rule book is again something from Paul Grogan, something from What's Your Game. What's Your Game? Again, you might take the word differently. Like you might take it different, take it in, but the rule book itself. I'm talking about the text on the rule book. Like when you go to
Mm-hmm.
BGG and say, I did not understand this, then someone comes and writes page number so and so line. So the rule
Mm-hmm.
book has it. It was like me, because we all have different way of understanding things, which we both agree on, and
Yes.
because of language and because of grammar, things are going to change. But the English, so I'm going to talk only about English. So that's a language you're going to write the rule book in,
Mm-hmm.
and okay, let's take Polish.
I
If
mean, it can be English.
Yeah, okay, like I mean any of the language, let's just say, you
Yeah.
you are you already have the language itself. I'm not talking about interpretation because there's not religion. It's like there's a logic. You
Mm.
understanding it is a different thing. But however, the rule book itself, the text itself, should not have
Mhm.
any ambiguity. Is what I'm trying to say. Like at least for somebody out there, like when I go to BGG and I read, I am interpreting this text this way. That's it. For me,
Mhm.
I'm done. I mean, oh shit, Gabo, I took a wrong turn and there's a bloody truck beside me and I don't think I can take a turn now. Why do I
Mm.
always do this? Oh, okay, it's not that far actually. Oh, okay, I can actually go from here. No worries, no worries. It didn't screw up anything. So, for example, again, watch your game. Okay, watch your game. And the other example I gave you, Great Western Trail, Victor Koblik's rule books are like I don't know what to say. They're like everyone who aspires to write a rule book should fucking go through his rule book and study it. It's one of the best way. Like I don't even know how he writes them. Like he's probably my favorite rule book author out there. Like there is zero ambiguity. There are places where I miss. For example, Great Western Trial. There were some questions that I had about tokens and cards. Okay,
Mhm.
and Great Western Style is a game that Renu learned first, and she told me this rulebook is awesome. And like she's the first one, she was the one who learned the game first, and then I relearned the game later on to teach people.
Mhm.
But and I didn't understand what she meant. Like everything is systematic. Like everything is exactly where it should be. The way he has structured the rulebook is it goes as you play. Like the
Mhm.
flow of the game, it takes you exactly like that. And concise example. There is nothing extra. It's like perfect examples. There
Yes,
is no
but
extra
yeah,
wording.
exactly. Oh
Hmm.
shit, this fucking car. Exactly, but you're
Hmm.
talking about a perfect example. How many rule books, bad rule books have you read, and why do you think is that? Is that the case? Why do you think is there so many bad rule books in the industry? Do you think every other
I
company
don't
and
agree. I don't
publisher
think that way. I think there are very less bad there are very less bad rule books, and in fact there are a lot more good rule books. Like
really?
yes, I don't think there is very less bad rule book because if there is a bad rule book, then you get to know that very easily, and that is why
I
I'm like kind
mean,
of unforgiving because there's already it's not like
there are
something that's new.
there are good rule books, there are bad rule books, and there are perfect rule books. And you're explaining perfect rule books right now.
Perfect rule book again. I would argue like this is of course it's always there is always a personal preference, right? Like I
Mhm.
can't objectively say something is perfect because I think it's perfect. But
Mhm.
but you can go with like if I'm 100% sure if I take a like a BGG vote, like again this is I'm specifically going with board game users here because you can't really go to a public and give them a rule book and judge it because they won't know what the fuck we're talking about, right?
Mhm.
But let's just say board game users, you, me, Ozzy, or whoever who has played enough board games to know what board games are about. And
Mhm.
if we are the ones who are judging the rule book and people like us, if I take a vote of confidence, I'll bet anything. I mean literally anything you want to know that rule books from What's Your Game and call based rule book will get a like a high ranking.
Yeah, of
Like,
course. I'm not saying that that's not the case. I'm just
hmm.
saying that you're giving an example of a almost perfect rulebook, let's say, that
There is an
has
I'm
did it
saying there's an
right.
example.
Yes, that has done it right, but there's a lot of rulebooks that didn't do it right.
Many publishers
And
don't do it. Yeah.
yeah, if that's the publisher's uh, case, wait, if that's the publisher's just laziness and like we will not
More than
pay
laziness is the
much,
money factor. I think
yeah,
it's.
more money to make a better
Hmm.
rulebook, then okay. But if there's, it's like for example, indie studios issue, that
One
they,
sec,
for
Gabo. One
example,
sec.
uh-huh,
Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. Indie Studios issue.
yeah, where for example, this guy he wants to make a board game. He made like the board game, for example, on Kickstarter, five guys in the team, and he thought that he has made a rule book that makes everything clear, but then when it comes in front of the people, he didn't have the money, for example, to fully like read proof it with professionals, perfect people that make perfect rule books, just what you just described. These people, he didn't have access to these people, for example. Do you still think that that person fucked it up, giving that game to people and taking money for it?
Yes and no.
Mm.
Because when do you remember when No Man's Sky came out? People ripped them apart, like
Yes.
literally destroyed them. and then they
Yes.
came back stronger, which is
Mm-hmm.
I find No Man's Sky one of the most success stories like I love
Yes.
to get inspired from, because they they were they were so badly insulted, like in many ways, and they had a lot of trouble and they have a very small team. They came back. Video games,
Mm-hmm.
board games are tough, rule books are tough, I agree, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, we can, like this is what I was telling you, I cannot put a product out there and make excuses, right? Like, this is a product I designed, nobody forced me to design it,
I
I
mean, nobody's.
designed it.
Of course, I'm not like saying that the designer then said, "Look, this is a perfect. This is the most I could have done. This is the perfect rulebook in my opinion. Just live with it." I'm not saying that the designer or whoever wrote the rulebook, I don't know, says that.
Designers
I'm not
generally
saying
don't,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
Hmm.
But what I'm saying is, for example, yeah, they've made the game, and then, for example, people say that this rulebook is shit. So then he makes, for example, erratas to that. He answers questions to
Oh,
people.
yeah, yeah,
He
exactly, I
answers
was
the
about to say that. That's a good thing,
yeah,
of course.
that's a good thing, and I don't
Yes.
think that you shouldn't have taken money for this kind of rulebook in the first place. I don't agree with this. That's why, because that's what you're saying. That's what I understand you're saying.
Partially, yes. And I stand by what I said. I mean, if you're taking money from someone and you have a rule book, now you're coming back to this thing about rule books and writing documentation, right? Yes,
Hmm.
you have a team of five. You don't actually need a big team to proofread your rule book. I mean, if you are creating something and you're really passionate about it and you want something out there, mistakes can happen, misprints can
Hmm.
happen,
Hmm.
wordings can go wrong, human errors can happen. I'm not talking any of these errors. But if you are designing a board game,
Hmm.
I'm going to assume that you at least know the website Board Game Geek. I
Hmm.
mean, any designer who comes to me and says, like, hey, I have designed a board game, and I ask, do you have a BGG page? And say, what is BGG? That's it. I'm going to walk the other way. And like, I don't care what anyone thinks about me. I might be like, you are a little too kinder than I am. I do have a very, like, because I judge myself very harshly. So
Uh-huh.
probably because when I do documentation, like, of course it sounds like I'm praising myself, but generally when I have to design documentation, which I have to do a lot, and in that I go through several proofreading sessions. So
Hmm.
it's not like I ask my colleagues, maybe I give them a treat, whatever it is, like, I
Do you
take.
do you think that that result is perfect, even after all those
I
proofreadings?
mean,
Or do you
my,
think, and
my
one more question, and one more
hmm,
question, do you think that
sure.
that result is the only result that you could have come up with?
No,
Is there?
I
Yeah.
don't agree to the second part. I mean, I could have come with a
Hmm.
different result, of course. But do
Yes.
I think it's
Uh-huh.
perfect? That I don't know, because the pool of people who are reading my documents are very small and highly trained individuals.
Hmm.
So
Exactly.
it's going to be very different from a rule book. A rule book is going a Kickstarter game
No, but the
especially.
rule book is, I think that's exactly what you're saying, because the people who, for example, write the rule book, I'm not talking maybe about the publishers because
Sure,
that's a third party doing it. But
sure,
if the people that actually made the board game are writing the rule books, they think they know more than about this game than anyone else in the world.
exactly.
They
Hmm.
think that they have conveyed everything properly. They have maybe
Exactly.
even foolproofed it like numerous times. And they think, okay, this conveys what I want to say. And then they put it in front of people, and it's like, I don't understand this rule.
No, that
And
is, I can't agree to that, Gabo, because I know how rule books are made, and like, I
Mhm.
have seen the rule book from its extremely shitty state. So generally, there is a saying in board game industry: board game designers are the worst rule book writers. Like,
Mhm.
you generally don't let board game designers design their rule book,
Okay.
and I didn't understand the reason why until I saw the process. Now,
Mhm.
you're saying about if you went through proofreading and someone not understanding it, I don't have any problem with that. Like, say for example, something that you might understand logically, I might not. Like, or
Mhm.
vice versa. There's a high chance of that,
Okay.
even in a perfectly designed
So
rule
we're
book.
not
So,
speaking about that. Okay.
so I do agree with that, like, interpretation.
what do
What I
you?
am talking about is this way.
Yeah.
Like, let me be very specific. I'm talking about the
Mhm.
text that is on the rule book. So,
Yes.
again, don't think of it as like a perfect example, but the example that I have in mind, because these rule books are so well written,
Okay.
even then I had
So
questions.
don't. So give me like an. Okay, never mind. Just go ahead.
Okay, okay. Let's
I
let's
don't
go
know
with the
what I want.
bad rule book. I'll get to my point. I mean, the reason I'm saying this. So
Mm-hmm.
say Nippon, okay, a game like Nippon, it has that rule book has zero ambiguity. Okay, now when I'm talking about the rule book itself, I'm not talking about your
Yes.
interpretation. The rule book has every single aspect of the game covered in simple sentences. It is
Mm-hmm.
I think only 12 or 14 pages rule book, and every example, every small detail is there in that. Okay.
Okay, so what I want to clarify here, you say ambiguity, you
Hmm.
mean what exactly?
Ambiguity as in like play this card somewhere, like okay, like I'm not able to get an example. Let me see if I can get an example of a game which had a lot of ambiguity. Legacy games, I'm going to talk about it a little later because they are a different subject altogether, but I'm just
Mm-hmm.
thinking about Reina
Okay.
Kinitsia's Babylonia. Okay, that
Mm-hmm.
rule book, everything was okay, but there is a particular way wording in that rule book which talks about chaining. I think I don't know if you have played Babylonia with me, but it's like you chain tokens together. And that
Uh-huh.
rule book,
Okay.
one word confused me so much. I'm like, this is such a simple fucking concept. Why do you have to word it like this?
Okay,
Like just
so
yeah.
but could you understand it from that
No,
word?
I
Like,
didn't. I had to go and check like what did because I could
no,
interpret it in
I'm
any
not
way.
sorry, I
Hmm.
put it I'm not talking about you specifically, but like, is it possible to understand the rule from that wording? Is it possible? You didn't understand, but is it possible to understand it from that wording?
Well, that is hard to say because when I went to BG, like, to answer, I can't answer this with SN. It's not an SN or no question because when I went to BGG for searching this answer, there were people who had these questions as well, and the person
Mm-hmm.
who came and wrote an answer to that was the developer of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like an errata that happened.
Yeah, but because you're talking, that's why I
So
asked
I
you
don't
about the
know. I can't answer that question because I don't know if anyone came and wrote it that way. But could someone have interpreted it the right way? Of course, of course.
That's what because I was talking about that. I am talking about how you can understand the rule, right?
Hmm.
You and I thought like mid conversation. That's why I asked about what do you mean about ambiguity.
Hmm.
So I thought that you mean that there are some rules that are missing in the rule book,
Yes,
or
I'm
there
talking
are
about
some.
those kind of things. Yes, missing rule
But
book.
you
Hmm.
said that somebody could interpret that correctly. So that
I
means
don't
that the
know.
rule
I
isn't
haven't seen an
missing.
example of that.
But what do you think?
Because like I can
Could
only
that
tell you
be?
based on my experience. Whenever I have played a game which has a lot of weird rules like this, where I cannot understand, I go and check
Hmm.
BGG. Someone already has a question, and people are just discussing what they think it means, and then it becomes official until one of the person from the publisher, it's either publisher, the designer, or the developer comes and answers it, and then it becomes the rule. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Yeah.
Hmm.
So till then it doesn't become a rule. Till then people are just discussing. Oh, I just played it this way because this is what I understood. Then the other person will be like, no, I think this is what it means. And sometimes there's a fight, and then you're like, okay, fine, wait for the developers to come. Actually, I have a perfect example of this. One of the
Okay.
worst rule book. Like QNET games should be fucking ashamed of them. And this is a game I play tested solo, and it's one of my favorite heavy Euro games, Agra. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm not going to blame the designer for it, but at the same time, Quinnet Games has no excuse for putting that shitty English rulebook out there. Like, if
Okay.
you go to Agra's forum, you can interpret so many different things because they've literally written like heavy words like essays after essays. The rules are in weird order, and then you have the same concept mentioned in. I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying it's in the same page, but page number 9 you have the same concept, and the same concept is repeated in page number 12, but under a different circumstances. Like, what
Hmm.
the fuck? And then you have so many different rules. Now I know Agra's rule in and out because, like I said, I play tested it, the
Hmm.
solo version, and I've played that game at least 20 times. So I know, but the thing, and I have, like, if you go under my geek list and if you see my contribution, like if you write in forums, it comes under your contribution in BGG. Half of
Uh-huh.
it is replying to, wow, this is beautiful. Half of it is replying to people on the forums about Agra, like asking, like, new players who come in and they have the same question, and then
Hmm.
you reply to it. That is not cool. I mean, the rule book should not have had like this particular wording says may. I mean, I can send you an example where I have answered it. I have like wait for Eric to come and reply because this is how I interpreted it. Like I'm using that word. I'm not saying I understood it this way. Like I
Uh-huh.
interpreted it this way,
Uh-huh.
and this is how we're playing. Turns out that I'm wrong. Eric came and answered it something else. A lot of people were playing the way I played. A lot of people
Mm.
are playing. So it's there is this ambiguity. But whereas like why
So so
and
so
listen, the
okay.
game is 70 euros. It's not a cheap game. It's a fucking 70 euros. QNET Games has zero right. Like there is no excuse for this. This is literally shit. Like
Mm-hmm.
why you are an that too QNET Games is an established developer. Sorry, publisher. Okay, from Netherlands. They
Okay.
have published so many games before.
It's very difficult to like put the finger on the thing here because you are talking about two extremes. One
Hmm.
on one point you are talking these are, for example, rule books that are perfect. Everyone likes them. You go on BGG, everyone likes them, and then you go for Agra, which everyone hates it. You think it's like this, and the publisher or developer or whatever says it's a different thing. And you're talking about extremes, and I'm like, where's the line there? And I'm trying to like pinpoint
Oh,
like
okay.
put
You
the
are saying like
finger.
where do I adjust? Like
Yes.
where do I feel like I should like, oh, I mean it's okay, I can still go ahead with it. I don't have a line. I mean for me it's all extremes. I don't have you can call me unkind for this one. I mean I'm in that way I cannot I don't think there's an excuse, and that's probably because like I said I personally do design, and tomorrow someone comes and criticizes my design, I have to take it on my face. And
So would if there would be, for example, in Agra's rulebook, it would be perfect, but it had that one rule that you just explained that
not
you
one,
thought it's
many
like that.
many, yeah,
Oh,
there were
no,
many.
no, no. Wait. I'm
Yeah.
ifing. I'm
Oh, okay,
ifing
okay,
right
okay,
now.
okay, okay.
It's an if conversation now. So
Sure.
if Agra's rulebook was perfect,
Mm.
but it had that one rule that you just described that you thought it's like that, but then the guy said that it's actually a different way you should play it, and a lot of people were confused because of that one rule. Okay,
Mm.
one rule.
Mm.
Everything else is perfect. Would you say, would you be harsh to them, or would you like forgive them
Partially, yes.
for one?
I mean, I'd still play the game, man. I mean, I like Agra is one of my favorite games. Like, I still it did not
Mhm,
take away from my enjoying the game.
mhm,
So that is there. But at the same time, you asking me whether I say the publisher, oh, it's okay, you did a mistake. If it depends on the publisher. If it's a new publisher, like you gave me an example of someone who is passionate, came out, they did everything, but they kind of messed up one small thing. I can get
mhm.
behind that. Okay, fine. Like it happens. But for established publisher, no, I don't think I can. Even if it's just one small rule, no, that is not acceptable at all. Because without the rule, like the game is just cardboard pieces or art and cardboard pieces. That's it. It's useless.
Yeah, I get it. But if they make an errata quite early, like in the first week of the game released, for
If it's a
example.
misprint, I can get it. Like it's it's something that you can't help. Like I said, human error,
Hmm.
misprint. But
No,
if you
that's a
have like,
different thing. Yeah.
yeah, but if you have like a huge like one rule by and there is an errata, when designer comes again, it depends on the game. Like say for example, a good Kinesia game. I'm not blaming the designers here. I'm talking
Mm,
especially about people who take our money. That's the publisher. So the people, if they come in, the publisher says, "Hey, look, this is what it is. We made a small group. This is how you should be playing," and people are misunderstanding this. Well, you
mm,
should have checked that. Why didn't you check this? So you didn't proofread your rule book. Like, what were you doing? I mean, again, seeing people like Paul
maybe.
Grogan
Maybe.
work,
Mhm,
it's very hard to believe for me that established publishers can't get the rule books right. Just
mm,
to give you the process. So when Paul does his rule book, right? So for example, he was writing on Mars's rule book. He put the rule book up there. We all had the chance to comment. We commented. He takes some suggestion. Some he doesn't take because Vital has to approve it, and
mhm,
after that they go through rigorous process of where things go. It has to the text has to fit. I think there's a text limit because there's image printing, how many pages, all those comes into play. And then you have that. After that he takes this text and he does a blind play test with this rule book. He gives it to people and sees if they can learn the game from his rule that he has written, right?
mhm.
Then he collects notes from there, goes back, reiterates, comes back to us. We check again. Oh yeah, this is good, this is good, and then blind test again. Then do
Yeah,
that again.
but that can only be afforded by
Precisely
huge
by
companies. I
Well,
think.
I mean, it's not that expensive. Board games are haven't reached where it goes to, like, say, your company Hitachi. Like Hitachi might pay like huge amount of money for someone to proofread. Maybe I'm just guessing, but board games, Paul. I don't think Paul Grogan gets that amount of money. He gets, but he does his job well.
I
Is
mean,
is
but I think he's the exception here, that he can do it, and other people cannot do it because they don't have the resources and such.
But there are
Maybe.
many, like I said, Gabo, there are, it's actually rule books. There are more good rule books than bad rule books, to be honest. Or at least
Mm,
the games that I play. Like for Alia is one of them, like Castles of Burgundy. They are one of the best rule books. And then which one? Which see this? There is this dude, Galaxy Trucker, for example.
mhm.
Now, some people like Shiva. Sorry, I have to go to sleep, Gabo. I'm just going to the nearest sleeping place. You following?
I thought, yeah, I thought you were going to like leave the
No.
game and go to sleep.
No. Oh wait, we are in Netherlands now. Which way? Can I take a
Right.
right? Yeah, I can. I can take a right. Okay. I generally look at the oncoming traffic and then decide.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lada Shivatul's rule book. Now, Renu likes reading his rule books. Ozzy loves his rule book. I am in between. I don't think the rules have any problem, but there is too much comedy that happens in that. So it's a personal preference. The rule book itself,
Mm.
can you play the game from the rule book? Absolutely.